Hello people of the internet, welcome back. So today I passed my driving test and I thought I'd make a video talking about what it's like taking a driving test when you're deaf, because I'm sure there are a lot of other people that are in this situation don't really know how it works, because I didn't, so I thought I'd just share it. So I'll start off with the theory test, then move on to what happened in the practical test. And all of this is based on how it works in the UK, so obviously it will be different depending on what country you're in. So let's start. So in my theory test, it was during, I think I did it in July 2021, so it was quite, still there were a lot of restrictions and everything. I wasn't allowed to bring my mum into the test centre, I had to go in by myself. And I think the lady put her mask down so I could lip read. This was also before I got my cochlear implant, so I really couldn't hear anything at this point. If you wear hearing aids or a cochlear implant processor, or anything around the ear area, I would make sure to tell them, because you're not allowed to wear earpieces to prevent cheating. So make sure you tell them that they're hearing aids and that you need them to hear, and they should be fine about it. But yeah, just make sure you tell them, because you don't want to get told off. There are no subtitles on the video that explains how the hazard perception test works, so you just kind of have to know what you're doing beforehand. Make sure you know what you're doing. You can get British Sign Language interpretation on the... I'm not sure if it's just for the video or if they do all of the questions in British Sign Language, but that is an option you can have. I just did it with written questions and knew what I was doing on the hazard perception test. One thing I didn't know what to do was they give you headphones to put on when you're watching the instructional video for how to do the hazard perception test. And I didn't know whether I'd look more stupid putting them on or not, because I'd already told them that I was like profoundly deaf and couldn't hear anything. So it's like, do I put the headphones on and then them think, well, what's the point in that? Or do I leave them off? I ended up just putting them on because I thought maybe other people would be able to hear the sound coming out of the headphones if I didn't have them on my head. So I put them on anyway, even though I couldn't hear anything. Yeah. The theory test has multiple choice questions and then hazard perception. The multiple choice questions are all just in written format, and the hazard perception you just click. Those shouldn't be a problem if you're deaf. For the practical test, you can book it online and you can tell them in advance if you are deaf or hard of hearing. If you need it, you are entitled to an interpreter. I think only if you're profoundly deaf you are allowed to have an interpreter. If you are hard of hearing, I'm not sure whether they let you have an interpreter. Because when I was booking it, I did see a thing. It was like, oh, if you're profoundly deaf, you can have an interpreter. And it's 2 separate tick boxes for hard of hearing or deaf. But I didn't need an interpreter for me personally. What I did was I have a mini microphone for my cochlear implant, and I can put this on the examiner because they're on my side without the cochlear implant. If they were on this side, it'd be okay. If anyone's from another country and is thinking how I thought there would be on her cochlear implant side, no, in Britain it's the other way around. So we drive on the left here, so they're on this side. So put my microphone on them, and I was fine with that. I just asked him to speak really loudly and clearly, and he did, and it was all completely fine. he already knew in advance when I came in that I was deaf. They do use hand signals if needed, and obviously you can have a BSL interpreter. Now they've changed the rules so the examiner doesn't need to wear a mask. Before, when they did need to wear masks, they would wear a clear mask. I don't know if there's anything else I need to say. Oh yeah, so when you're booking your test online, you tick the box to say you are either profoundly deaf or hard of hearing. And then it gives you like a little text box where you can type what you need. So you can say, I need an interpreter, or I need them to allow me to lip read. When I took my first driving test, which I failed, I had, this was before I had my implant, I had a mirror that I stuck kind of on the dashboard so I could see the examiner's lips. I cannot lip read while I'm driving, so they'd have to rely on hand signals, and then when I'd stopped, I could look and lip read. That worked all right. I still failed, but you know, that system works all right. So if that's something that you think you could do, you can do that. Yeah, so that's everything. Being deaf is not reportable to the DVLA, so it won't affect your car insurance or anything like that. Yeah, it's not a problem. You don't need to report that you're deaf or hard of hearing, as long as your eyesight's fine. I think there are some other things that other conditions need to be reported to the DVLA. If you've got vertigo, that needs to be reported. Yeah, so I think I've covered everything. If anyone has any questions about how it worked taking my driving test, please feel free to leave them in the comments and I'll answer them the best I can. Thank you for watching. Bye!